video is because you purchased one of our Make It at Home mozzarella kits. I'm here to give you a little step-by-step tutorial live and in action of how to make the fresh mozzarella. So in your kit you received exactly 2 pounds of fresh mozzarella curd. I've taken half of that curd, which is 1 pound, and I put it inside this bowl. I suggest you do the same because, you know, on your first attempt, if you don't do it right, you've still got a lot of curd left over to do it a second time. In this pot, if you read my instructions that came with that kit, I've got 1 gallon of boiling water and 1 cup of kosher salt. You got the salt in a little bag in your kit. On my right here, I've got a little bowl of ice water, which is going to be my best friend in this process. And then I've got a little sea salt, some cracked black pepper that came in your kit, some extra virgin olive oil as well. So I'm going to get right into it right here. So I've got my curd in the bowl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that hot boiling water, I'm going to ladle it on top of that mozzarella curd. Not all of it, just basically enough to cover that mozzarella curd, and I'm going to start melting it down here right now. So basically this mozzarella makes itself. You're kind of just here to lead it in the right direction. Okay, so it's not so much about handling it, pinching it, prodding it, beating it up. It's about having a gentle touch while you do this, and that way your cheese is going to come out unctuous, soft, and silky, everything that we want fresh mozzarella to be. So, like I said, I've got this little ice water here on my right-hand side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my hand in this ice water. The first stage of making mozzarella is what I call the gathering stage, which is what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand in that hot water, and I'm just going to gather all those curds all together into kind of one homogeneous mass. When that water gets too hot, I'm going to take my hand out. I'm going to put in the ice water because I love making fresh mozzarella cheese, but I don't need to injure myself while I'm doing this. Once you kind of get the feels and you're going through this and you've done it more than once, you can use a wooden spoon for this process. But on the first time doing it, I suggest you use your hands. If you want to put on gloves, that's fine. For me, I just like to get the feels of the mozzarella cheese because you'll see it changes very much through this process as it comes in contact with that hot water and starts to melt down. So I'm basically through that first stage, which is the gathering stage, and you can see all those curds which are floating around in there are basically one big homogeneous mass here right now. But if you can get a close-up on that, you can see that there's still some little lumpy pieces of curd that have not fully melted down. So inside here there's still some little lumps. Also, my water started to cool down a little bit. It's really important while you're doing this that you're doing it with hot water the entire time. That's how you make really fantastic soft mozzarella cheese. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take and I'm going to put that water back into my pot, which is still boiling hot, and I'm going to add a second addition of hot water. If you want to, at that point, you could use like a little strainer to make sure you don't waste any of the curds. But as you can see, I just kind of used my hand there. It's not my first time making mozzarella cheese, obviously. So this second addition of hot water is really going to melt the cheese down completely, and we're going to be ready to make fresh mozzarella right after this. So be aware, the second addition of hot water, this is going to be even hotter now when you put your hands in there. So use caution, use that little bowl of ice water that's on your right, and make sure that you remove your hand if it starts to burn you. So the second step of the process I call the pizza cheese stage, because you can see that that mozzarella is all completely melted down, starts to stretch like that. Kind of looks like the cheese that you get off of a piece of pizza. When you eat that piece of pizza, it kind of stretches out like that. So I call it the pizza cheese stage. You can also see that that mozzarella is taken on, it's hot, definitely hot. Even though I've done it 100,000 times, it's still hot. You can also see that that mozzarella starts to take on a little elastic quality. It's got like that shininess on the outside. It starts to all come together and starts to look like fresh mozzarella. So I'm basically there, I'm ready to make fresh mozzarella cheese right now. So like I said, I used half of the amount that you received in your kit. So this is basically enough to make 2 nice mozzarella balls. So I'm gonna make one right now. I'm gonna take this cheese directly out of the water. If it's too hot in your hands, I'm gonna put it back in the water and put your hands in the ice. You don't wanna injure yourself in this process. So I take it straight out of the water. I just let it fold across itself gently like this. You can see I'm not stretching it, I'm not pulling it, I'm not beating it up. In fact, the term pulling fresh mozzarella to me is kind of a misnomer. For me, it's almost just about making the cheese do itself. So you can see it kind of starts to firm up a little bit in my hand while I'm doing this, and I'm basically there once it starts to look like mozzarella cheese. So I'm gonna kind of take this, I'm gonna pinch off my ball of fresh mozzarella cheese. That is about a 4-ounce ball. And I'm gonna just drop it in that ice water for about as long as it takes me to dry my hands off, maybe about 5 seconds, and that helps it to set up really quickly. We want this mozzarella cheese to still be warm, soft, and unctuous in the center. So then I go to the plate, I take a little bit of that sea salt that I gave you in the kit, take a little bit of that cracked black pepper that I gave you in the kit, and I take a little bit of that olive oil that I gave you in the kit as well, and drizzle with extra virgin olive oil. You could eat the mozzarella just pure and simple like that. We also received in your kit some beautiful rustic bread from Panorama Bakery. So I took that bread and I put it on the grill. I got a little grill marks on it. I rubbed it with a little bit of garlic, and I drizzled it with a little extra virgin olive oil. So you can see that mozzarella right now is stretchy, unctuous, oozy. I just kind of lay that right on top of the bread like that. And that's my fresh mozzarella cheese. So, hope you enjoyed doing this at home. Tune into our website and shoot us an email if you have any questions. Buona fortuna. Ciao from Pizzeria Trevigno.